Now let's review this figure 21-17 that basically deals with purged and pressurized systems. Again, you can define purged and pressurized systems in Article 100, but they are selected from NEC 500.7 D as in dog if you want to use them. And notice purged and pressurized can be used in Class 1, Division 1 and 2 type locations. But now notice the types of pressurized equipment is type X, Y, and Z. And you select the type that suits your installation the best. But before we get into that, let's look at Note 1. Enclosures or rooms shall be permitted to be pressurized. But to do this, is it an enclosure, a motor, or a control room? And we would review NFPA 496 for these rules and regulations. And then in Note 2, we suggest that you see 4-9, 4-10, and 4-11. Now there's some sections that you need to look at, and I jogged down 4.11. I also jogged down 5.4 and 6.5. And if you do that, you will be able to, when I say do that, review those sections, you'll pick up exactly some of the most important things when using purged and pressurized type equipment. Now notice we have a type Z pressurization, 501.15, B as in boy 2, exception 3, and then inside the enclosure is unclassified. In other words, we used to use general purpose components there. And outside the area of the enclosure is a Class 1 Division 2 in accordance with 500.7 D as in dog when we select this type of pressurization Z. But now let's kind of talk about X. And of course that's 4.11. And notice basically it states there that if you should lose the purge and the pressure, and the pressure mainly, if you lose it, you got to shut it down. And then when you look at 6.5 to NFPA 496, it says an alarm comes on once that occurs, see. And in type Y, basically, mainly, in my opinion, and what I've seen, it's only used when you don't want the system to shut down until you find what is the problem, but you have to use Class 1 Division 2 components inside so there's not a threat to an explosion. It's basically, you know, what you would use there. And basically, those are the three types that we would use based upon what is the condition, what does the installation require, and how do you want the equipment to operate. And basically, you know, that's what the purged and pressurized systems are, and you see them quite often in Class 1 Division 1 where a piece, maybe a type explosion-proof enclosure will not work. You can't buy one large enough to do the job. But now notice one thing. You do have to sweep an enclosure with 4 volumes of air. Sweep it out, get all of the vapor out, and then pressurize it, see. And if it's an enclosure, you sweep it with 4 volumes of air before you pressurize it. So these sections that I've quoted to you will give you this information so you know what is really required when you're designing and installing this type of equipment. And basically that's what this figure 21-17 is illustrating.